Hello, yes, it's the old git. Yes, I'm back. Been a couple of weeks since I've done a video. That's because I've had this horrible flu that's been going around, grip or whatever you want to call it, wherever you are. And I'm forever blowing my nose. Oh, it's horrible. And I do sympathise because it's going round and lots of people have got it. Now, look, today I want to remind people of what's been going on. And because of the bigger picture, some of the smaller things, which are not really smaller things, are becoming forgotten. So I'm going to start off today to talk about, let's say, we're going to talk about this man here. Okay, Jeremy Corbyn and his sidekick, Mr. McDonnell, John McDonnell. They agreed to a police interview after, I've got a minute to remember, after the former Labour leader and former Shadow Chancellor to an interview under caution following the protest of, it was on the Saturday of the January, Saturday the 18th I think it was of January. And these two monkeys, two muppets, obviously, seem to hate their country. In fact, if you know anything about British politics, old Jeremy Corbyn, they're still in Parliament, voted in by left-wing Champagne Charlies who live in North London or wherever it is they live. Jeremy Corbyn and John McDonnell were due to be interviewed, and they were cautioned by the police after that pro-Palestine march in central London on Saturday. Now, 9 people have been charged with public order offences after the protest breached conditions as they marched through the city, forcibly breaking through a police line in the process. The Palestinian Solidarity Campaign, PSC for short, protest, in which thousands gathered to demonstrate against Israel's 15-month or whatever, 3-year, whatever, however long that war has been going on in Gaza. And they charged the police, and they were charged by the police, told not to go past the synagogue. On a Saturday, the route was that they would not go near any synagogues. Well, those conditions were put in place, and obviously they tried to turn and force their way to the front of the synagogue. Now, the Metropolitan announced on Saturday that they had to arrest quite a few people, and they did. In fact, they detained 65 people for breach of that condition of not going past the mosque. Now, right at the front line there, you have Jeremy Corbyn, and John McDonnell was there too. So these were at the front of the march, and they were leading the march, so they're going the direction of these people holding the banner there. And so 65 people got arrested. 5 public order offences, 2 obstructing police, 1 for supporting a prescribed terrorist organisation, 1 for inciting racial hatred, and 1 for common assault, and 1 for sexual assault on an emergency worker. Now, Mr. Corbyn there, who obviously doesn't like his own country, 75-year-old, it's understood that 73-year-old McDonnell was due to have an interview on Sunday, and also there was a 61-year-old questioned, and they were questioned under caution. But since that day, nothing has happened. Although some people who were at that march have been charged, but he and his sidekick were not, or as far as I know, it hasn't been announced that they've been charged with anything, which I find ridiculous considering they were at the very front of the march and they tried to push forward and go in front of the synagogue on the Saturday. They kept saying, or they say, that, oh, we wanted just to go and put some flowers on a grave, which is complete bullcrap, basically. He didn't mind. And the commander of the police who were in charge of this march, a guy called Adam Soletnicki, who he led the policing operation, said yesterday he saw a deliberate effort, including the protest organisers, to breach the conditions and attempt to march out of Whitehall towards the synagogue. Now, he's been basically interviewed under caution, but we haven't heard, in the mainstream media, as usual, nothing said. Is he going to be charged? He committed the crime. Oh, I don't know. Maybe not. I mean, all he said, I was going to put some flowers in the memory of the children that have been killed in Gaza. But basically, he was at the front of that march, with the front of the banner, and obviously where he was going, people were following, and he tried to break out, and he broke the law. Again, we're looking at two-tier policing, and as far as I can see, nothing has happened to them. They were interviewed under caution, but nothing happened. Again, if you make a bad comment on the internet, or you say something derogatory about somebody, they come to your house, knock on your door, and within weeks you get locked up. Absolutely disgusting. That's the first niggle that the old git has today in regard to that man who basically flaunts the law, gets a caution, and he walks away. Mr. Jeremy Corbyn. So that's my first niggle, and let's move on. I've got a few, but the last thing I talk about today, I think, is we're in a very dangerous situation, and I'm going to explain why at the end of this video. Do excuse the way that I keep talking, because I still have a little bit of this cold. So let's get rid of this idiot and move on to we'll put that little graphic up there, and it's about the Clevis Albanian, whatever his name is. This is the guy. He said it would be unduly harsh for his 10-year-old boy to be forced to move back with his father. And I'll give you the reason why this man got a stay of execution. You could read the little bits there, but I was just going to say, the judge allowed the father's appeal against deportation as a breach of his right to a family life. Now, Albanian, his name is Clevis Disher, 39. He came to the UK illegally in February 2001. This is how stupid the judicial system's got. And he came in February 2001. He was 15 years old, unaccompanied child. He entered England under a false name and falsely claimed to have been born in the former Yugoslavia. His asylum claim was rejected, but he secured UK citizenship in 2007 after being granted exceptional leave to remain and then indefinite leave. In 2017, listen to this, he was imprisoned for 2 years after being caught with £250,000 in cash, proceeds of crime, and he went to prison. The then Home Secretary, Priti Patel, ordered he should be deported to Albania when he finished his sentence. What went on? Well, and he should be stripped of his UK citizenship. But Disha again, he appealed and was backed by a judge at an immigration tribunal, and the judge ruled that the deportation would be unfair on his son, known only as C, for him to remain in the UK and be separated from his father, or to be forced to go with him to Albania. Now, here's the crux of the matter. Why couldn't he go back to Albania with his son? Why would it be detrimental to the son? I'll tell you why. The judge said, for example, the boy could not go the reason was that he will not eat the type of chicken nuggets that are available abroad. Do you not think that the judicial system is full of left-wing lunatics? I don't care. He's broken the law. He's lost his citizenship. He can have a family life in Albania, and he can take his son and his family back, because we don't need people like that in the UK. But no, the lefty George says no, he can stay because he doesn't like the chicken nuggets. Beggars belief, doesn't it? But there you go, this is what's happening in England. But this is minor. But I just want to remind you of the type of thing that's happening all over the UK. And we have this Stasi government that doesn't give two hoots about anybody. They globalists, running around the world, giving all the taxpayers' money away and letting people like this stay in the country. Now, even worse than that, where is it? I don't know if I put this one on. But anyway, I don't think I did. But it doesn't matter, I'm going to tell you about it anyway. Even worse than that, we'll take him away because we don't want to look at that anymore. So we'll say goodbye. I just want to mention another case, which is worse than that case, which is a Pakistani paedophile escapes deportation. And the reason for this one, it would harm his children. What about the children that this paedophile has harmed and possibly will harm others in the UK? Again, left-wing, idiot lawyers and judges saying the man's entitled to a life and it would harm his children. I think he's more harmful to his children. He shouldn't be a parent if he's been convicted of paedophilia. But that's even worse. But what I want to do now is go on to another. I'm zipping through these because a lot to get through, and I hope that you can get in touch with me. I haven't switched any of the ways to get on today because, I say, it's been difficult for me to do anything until I'm getting better, but never mind. But you can write this down. You could get in touch with me through X. Is it called X? That used to be Twitter. At best before the letter T. Best before T. So it's at best before T, and you can send me a comment there. Or bestbeforetv@gmail.com. You can send it there. But I don't know if you know, but I do these because the old git gets, he wants to rant. I don't do it to make money, I'd like to, but I do it because I'm sick of what's happening to the country. That I loved living there, but had to leave because I just can't live under the regime and what's going on and what's happening to the country. I'm quite happy to stay in Spain. Now, do you remember the Manchester attack on the armed police? Brutally attacked by two Asian men, which resulted in two police officers being injured and one being a woman whose nose was broken. Let's just remind ourselves of what they did.
29 seconds of video seeming to show what happened first. The punches and chaos before the kick and then stamp that sparked such anger and a criminal investigation into the actions of an armed police officer. This new video, obtained by the Manchester Evening News, starts with a man in blue at a parking pay machine. It's him who ends up on the floor, being kicked. We see a violent struggle. A woman in a headscarf is knocked to the floor, as is a female police officer. When she gets up, it seems there's blood coming from her nose. The man in blue appears to have been tasered when he goes down, taking a police officer with him, who gets up, with protests on the streets, while from others, praise for the police. Those calling for calm urge caution until more is known. Even so, the images and events of the last week will mean more pressure on an already under pressure police force.
Now, there's a lot of, I'll show you, there's a lot of attacks on law enforcement. Those were armed police officers. Yes, he stomped on his head, but he's subsequently been cleared of doing any wrongdoing, because if you attack the police, especially armed police, you're lucky you don't get shot. It was highly charged. It's come out since that film that the guy in the blue was trying to take the gun off the guy that fell to the floor with him. Well, that's true or not, I don't know, and I don't want to say anything because, you know, it's taken months and months to bring them to justice, to bring them to the court, and they're now in the court. But my point is this: if somebody says something like a little bit hurty on the social medias, the police immediately around there arrest them and they're in prison within weeks. Again, another symptom of this Stasi government. You are having your rights taken away in more ways than you know. You know, freedom of speech is something that's tantamount to our Western society and to our culture. And, you know, if you went down the pub years ago when I was a boy, you said something out of turn and somebody didn't like it, they'd tell you so. And if you didn't apologise, they'd probably give you a punch on the nose. But, I mean, it was all done amicably in a way. You know, you knew the boundaries. But now, you can't say anything. Nothing. And just to show you that I'm not lying about other law enforcement people who get attacked, just have a look at this.
D.
Well, that was a traffic warden getting attacked and his motor scooter stolen, I think, by our friendly neighbourhood normal people. I've not seen anything really on the news. Did you notice they were stomping on his head? I know he got an helmet on, but they were stomping and kicking him. You know, there's no reason to attack a police officer, ever. It's that, you know, especially for trying to do their job. I'm 71 years old, never had a bad reaction from a police officer that I've ever encountered. And I've been a naughty boy sometimes when I was young, but they treated me with respect and I treated them with respect back. And I'm sure that a police officer would stop me today. The first thing you do is cooperate. Cooperate. It's costing you nothing. And I'm sure within a very short time, of course, if you've done nothing wrong, you're on your way. I think there's nothing wrong with mutual respect. Respect the man that's doing his job, is trying to keep you safe. But no, and there's more examples of, people who don't really care about their country or they're just out to create havoc. And I'm going to tell you more about that in a little bit. But I mean, I want to show you one more clip in regards, this is more recent, of police being attacked. There's no respect for the police in the country. Check this out. Now, I attribute that to the Daily Telegraph there. That was the film from them. What you see there is a policeman being attacked and overwhelmed, and all of a sudden a load of other mongrels join in and want to attack the policeman too. There was a lady police officer who was as much use as a chocolate frog, but it's not her fault. She's still an officer of the law, and you should stop what you're doing and respect and let them do their job. No, attack. It's been going on for a long time, and it seems that the two-tier Stasi government, it has a two-tier approach to the population of the UK, and it seems that they're only pandering to one group. Now, the police have to face this kind of thing every day. Would you be a police officer? I don't think. And they're pandering to, and the government and other organisations are pandering to one group of people. And this group of people only make up 4% of the population. So much attention is given to this group. They have their own courts, they form ghettos, they do not integrate, they hate British society and culture and traditions and way of life. And although they've been here for 30 years or more, some still don't speak English. And what's more frightening is it's already developed itself into a fifth column army with the illegal and legal migrants that have been coming to the country and kind of forming their little ghettos. And it's really sad that this fifth column army that's already there, believe me, it's there, it's already in the country, already outnumbers our military by about 3 times. Now, they've not been bringing weapons, they've just been bringing themselves. But this particular group have a history of taking over, and they have a 3-phase plan to dominate. So let's have a look at their 3-phase plan. In the UK right now, I think that they're in phase 2. So let's look at this. Now, first of all, a few in number oppressed Islam. They play the victim. They claim Islamophobia, and they're more tolerant than the others. Now, at this stage, a lot of the people that come, who follow the Islamic religion, who do well, they break out of these ghettos and they become wealthy, rich, and they do well, and they still keep to their religion, but they're not liked by the rest. They, you shouldn't leave this, you're doing the wrong thing, you shouldn't do anything or like anything about the West, but they come here just the same. But this is more interesting because phase 2, they become a large minority, which they've done, but they're only 4%, but they get a lot of notice. And it's, how can I say, they've already got to a stage where they're threatening. Now, how does this work? They install fear into the indigenous population. And they do that by what they're doing, the stabbings on the street, rubbing cars into crowds, women afraid. They use these things to make people afraid. And people are afraid. People don't want to go out at night. They're fear of being attacked, robbed, raped. And all the time they do this, they're demanding, we want our own law, Sharia law, we want that. And we don't like you because you're intolerant to our ways, intolerant infidels. Now, and that all the time that they're doing phase 1 and 2, they're having children, and they're getting larger and larger and larger, and they become not so much a minority as a majority, although in Britain's case they don't have to be, because the British are all falling over backwards, and so is most of Europe. More because, I don't know why, this left-wing government don't want to upset people, but basically, if you're white, straight, male in the UK, or female, you are a horrible person. You're immediately branded as right-wing. Well, let me say, a lot of the Muslims that have, like Zia Youssef, leader of the or chairman of the Reform Party, he has embraced the British way of life, the culture. So has Ben Habib, so has many other influential Muslim people, and they get on with their lives, and they have a great time, and they live in the West, enjoy living in the West. Don't try to change it, but they keep to their religion, and that's fine, and that's how it should be. As do many Sikhs, Hindus, Buddhists. They keep to their religion. They don't. They live peacefully, and they integrate. These people don't want to integrate. It is their mission in life to make everybody like them. Once they've got phase 3, when you get to phase 3, and we're not far away from that, 2050, by 2050 I suppose, they would have done it, unless something's done, but I think it's too late. It doesn't matter to me, I won't be here. But grandchildren will be here, and your children will be here, and they'll be living in terror, because they will be classed as the minority. And as they get more dominant, when they get to phase 3, they become more militant, they impose their law more strictly, and they kill and subdue all infidels that won't convert. Now, here's the rub. Already people are getting, how can I say, chastised for their beliefs or for their non-belief in their radical form of religion. Already people are getting threatened, like Jewish people who, I've often asked, what have Jewish people ever done to anybody? They've never done anything. Their birthright, the land where they are, it's their birthright. And they were there long before the name of Palestine was ever invented. Look back in history. But because there's Jewish people living on Arab land, they don't like it. Now, will it ever stop? I don't think so. And this method of taking over has been used, this pattern has been used, as you see there, for 1400 years. This pattern hasn't changed. Moderates, or, moderates, the moderate Muslims it's referred to, are irrelevant. They force them into submission. Muslims that want to get on, they've left the country to get on in life, but they become afraid. If you don't conform, we'll cast you out, we won't bury you, we'll feed your body to pigs. All sorts of threats they get, so they just conform. And we're talking about moderate Muslims who are basically nice people. They just want to live, So, one more thing. Why do you think it'll never stop? You look at Gaza, and I've got videos, I'm not going to show them to you because they're disgusting, where you've got women shouting, after the ceasefire started, they were shouting things like, I'm going to have many children and grow up, they'll all be martyred, we'll destroy. Why you want to see your own children killed? And I'd like you to watch this, because this is how the children or the future terrorists are raised to come and take you over. This film, this little clip I'm going to show you was done, I think, in January 2025. It's very recent. Have a look at it and then tell me, you think that these children will grow up to be nice, even-minded kids? I don't think so. Let's have a look, shall we? Let's take that down.
One of them just came up, looked at me and went like this. Well, we know what that means. The sign, this one they keep putting up, this was the old ISIS symbol. One, meaning one God, one religion, one faith, one leader, symbol of unity and power. These boys are all behaving very threateningly. They were all saying, one day I hope to kill you, one day I want to slit your throat. They're all making very, very threatening gestures. So this is the culture that they're being brought up in. For anyone who's a foreigner saying, we hope you're going to die, we're going to slaughter you one at a time. The worst kind of ISIS mentality, rhetoric is the culture here.
Now, very short film. But you see where the problem is, where the children are being indoctrinated. It's not the children's fault. They're breeding more terrorists. And this, even in the camps and where ISIS is finished, but they still indoctrinated children into becoming terrorists and martyrs and kill the infidel and hate the Jews. So, for me, it's gone too far. Everything has gone too far. And I do believe that if something doesn't change radically soon, London will be the domain of Sadiq Khan and his friends. It'll get changed, it'll get a new name. It's already the white people who live there, probably minorities. Birmingham, Leeds and Leicester. These places, the enclaves are growing and your freedoms are going, aren't they? So that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. And hopefully it's gone out live. I think I've gone out live on this as well. Like I say, I was just getting used to this, all this new technology here that I've got, and then I got the flu. So think on. A lot of just as a postscript to that, a lot of my Muslim friends, and I have many, They don't like what's happening, but they too are afraid. It's in the mosques. They sort of guided towards not conforming to Western civilization, although they live here. So I'm going to leave it for today, and hopefully I've spoken some sense, and speak to you very soon with something else. I mean, I think the next thing we're going to be talking about is the Third World War, which is coming. And of course, Donald Trump, who I think is doing a fantastic job, and also Elon Musk, I think they're doing great. And we have to find a way of getting Nigel Farage into government. We want him to be the Prime Minister. And of course, my favourite man is Ben Habib, and my favourite is Lee Anderson, because he's a proper bloke, and then Ben Habib, and of course Rupert as well, who gives his salary. Anyway, don't go on rambling, we've talked enough about that. You can't really contact me, so we can't interact at the moment. Hopefully on the next video that I do, we will interact. So what I'm going to say, until the next time I see you, which hopefully this cold will be gone completely, stay safe, stay well, and don't let it grind you down, but think on the writing is on the wall. See you soon. Take care.